You know, we ask questions all day, every day. Little things like, hey, how are you? Or, what have you been up to? They seem so harmless, but what if some of our most common, most innocent questions actually carry a huge spiritual weight? Today, we're going to talk about 3 specific questions that, honestly, we should probably just hit delete on for good.
This line, it really hits you, doesn't it? It frames the whole conversation perfectly. The idea that our words, the things we just casually say, could have this real, tangible weight on the day of judgment. This isn't just about being polite anymore. It's about something much, much bigger.
So where does this all stem from? Well, we kind of live in a world that's obsessed with knowing every little detail about everyone else, right? We call it being curious, but the source material we're looking at sees it in a totally different light, as a sign of a spiritual crisis.
And this really gets to the heart of it. On one side, you have what we tell ourselves. Oh, it's just small talk, or I'm just being curious. But on the other side is the spiritual reality that small talk can actually be a major violation of someone's privacy. And that curiosity might be a red flag that something's a little off inside us.
Okay, so what's the big idea guiding us here? Well, the wisdom behind avoiding these intrusive questions comes from a really central teaching in Islam about what good faith truly looks like. And honestly, it's a little counterintuitive, but it is so profound.
Let's just sit with that for a second. The strength of your faith isn't about how much you know about other people. It's measured by what you have the wisdom and the self-control to not get involved in. From this perspective, real spiritual maturity is all about respecting boundaries and focusing on your own path.
So it all boils down to this foundational concept of a person's good Islam. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, defined it so simply and so powerfully. He said a sign of it is leaving alone what does not concern them. That's it. That's the principle that underpins everything else we're about to talk about.
So how do we take this amazing principle and actually apply it in our day-to-day lives? The source gives us 3 very specific, very common questions that we should make a real effort to just erase from our conversations.
And here they are: money, marriage, and children. I know, these might feel like totally normal conversation starters, but they touch on some of the most private, most sensitive, and most personal areas of someone's life. So let's break down why each of these is on the list.
All right, first up, money. This is a huge one, especially in a culture that often links how much you have with how successful you are.
I mean, just think about it. Asking someone what their salary is or how much their house cost, what's the point? It really doesn't serve any good purpose, and more often than not, it just makes the other person feel deeply embarrassed or uncomfortable. The source reminds us that a person's provision is a very private matter between them and God. It's just not our business.
Okay, number 2 on our list of forbidden questions is all about a person's marital status. Gosh, how many times have we seen someone get absolutely grilled about why they aren't married yet?
And here's the deeper, spiritual reason why this is so off-limits. Marriage is seen as a matter of qadr, of divine destiny. It's something that only God controls. So when we pressure someone about it, we're not being helpful. We're actually causing them pain, and we're kind of questioning God's perfect timing for their life.
And that brings us to the 3rd and final question, the one the source calls the heaviest of all, because it so often carries the most unseen pain.
And it's the same principle as marriage. Children are viewed as a sacred gift from God. He gives this gift to whom He wills, when He wills. When we pry into this area, we're treading on incredibly sacred and often very painful ground.
The bottom line is this: your innocent question could be a devastatingly painful reminder of silent struggles. You never know if someone is dealing with infertility or loss or prayers that just haven't been answered yet. Your curiosity, however well-intentioned, can feel like twisting a knife in a wound they're trying to heal.
So you have to ask, why do we even do this? What's going on spiritually when we get so caught up in things that have nothing to do with us? Well, the source gives us a pretty sobering answer.
Wow, let that sink in. This insight from classical scholars is just incredibly powerful. It suggests that getting overly busy with other people's lives isn't just a bad habit. It could actually be a sign that we've been distracted from our own spiritual purpose, that we're heading off track.
So what's the alternative? The real path to success isn't about being an auditor of everyone else's life, judging what they buy, who they marry, or when they have kids. It's about turning all that energy and focus back inward, on ourselves. It's about seeking the kind of knowledge and doing the kind of actions that will actually benefit us in the long run.
So we've talked about the what,
the why, and the what not to do. To wrap all of this up, let's turn the lens around one last time with a final, really mindful question for ourselves.
I think every single one of us has been on the receiving end of that question, the one that felt less like a question and more like a judgment. So, what's yours? Thinking about that question helps us build real empathy, and it's a fantastic first step toward making our own conversations that much more mindful and compassionate.